Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing another sketchbook challenge where I'm going to be drawing in my sketchbook using only one color. And you saw the thumbnail and the title, and that color is going to be blue. So I gathered all of my blue markers and my pencils that I will be using, and I gathered all of the materials that had the name blue on it or that looked blue. I didn't grab anything that was blue-green or aquamarine, and I'm going to be using these pencils again to sketch with. I have all of the colors, so these will be really helpful for all of these sketchbook challenges. I think I'm going to continue doing this and just go down the line in a rainbow fashion. I started with purple and now we're on to blue, and next will be green if you guys continue to like this challenge. And I'm just going to start with a simple sketch. Last time I did like a clothing drawing, and I was struggling to figure out what to draw for this blue color today, so I just stuck with what I know and what I'm good at, which is drawing portraits. And I'm just going to change all the colors of their skin and so on just to blue, which of course is the challenge, and part of the reason why I'm doing this is to test my skills and just also to have fun, to see if I can draw anything using only one color. Along with the color blue, if you like plants as much as I do, well then join my wallpaper club for August wallpapers, which happen to have a lot of blue incorporated in them. Join clicking the link below. Okay, back to the video. And if you missed one of my previous videos, I made this organizer for all of my art swatches, and I put some more art supply storage in the same container, such as my erasers and my sharpeners. As you can see here, this has been so helpful with drawing because all of my swatches are in the same place, they're organized, and they're all the same size, so please check out that video for the full DIY tutorial. Okay, on to the drawing. So I'm grabbing some of the swatches that I know I'll need. I'm going to be using Ohuhu markers and acrylic markers, and so I just need to make sure that the blue colors are blue. Sometimes they look a little green, so I'm using my swatches to make sure that I know what colors I'm grabbing. And I'm also going to be starting with, for the skin tone, I'm going to be using this light blue from my Tombow markers, and I'm also going to be using them for a little bit of layering after that first layer of that blue color, just to get some of those shadows in there. I'm going to be using a lot of different shades of blue in this video, of course. This is just so that I can get an idea of where some of the initial shadows are under the nose and on the nose bridge, and where their neck is. And then I'm grabbing this other light blue and getting more into highlighting those shadows. I'm using another blue, but then I jumped back for some reason. I don't remember why I decided to just jump into the clothing that they were wearing. There's like this almost like a light navy turtleneck, and if you ever seen my drawing videos before, I always jump back and forth into drawing. Like I never stay in one place and then continue on to the next. I don't know what it is. I just don't have like a big thinking process. I'm just like draw. And then I went back to that first blue that I was using when I started doing the shadows, just making my sketch a little bit more prominent and drawing some of those spots that are going to be darker. And since my sketch got a little bit blurred with that marker in the beginning, I had to draw over some of it. And just so I got these down, I drew the eyebrows with some colored pencils because I want to get started on the hair. Like I said, I like to jump back and forth. I think sometimes I just like to rush the drawing because I'm too excited to get into the details, because drawing details make it look good, and it's also one of my favorite parts of drawing or painting. But anyway, I'm using this lovely shade of blue to color in the hair. They have black hair in the reference image, but this is a blue color challenge, so I'm going to need a base color for the hair before I start getting into the darker areas of the hair to make it look like it's black hair but blue hair. And I always say this, I like to do the dark shadows first, and basically this prevents you from doing everything all in the same color, and then your drawing gets lost and you're unable to visualize where those shadows go because everything is the same color. This was something I definitely did when I was starting out and painting when I was younger, but as I got older and tried to get better at art, I realized that doing the darker colors helped first. But this might be confusing to you because I am doing a lighter color first, but these are also called base colors, which are you know, the colors that you want to build off of, especially in painting when you're doing base colors, which is like sort of like a lighter version of what you're doing, so you can still see your sketch and continue to build. This just helps you get an idea of, you know, where that big block of color is. It's also called blocking, but sometimes I like to just say bases because, you know, it's basically the base of the drawing. And then I grabbed a beautiful dark blue. I mean, all of these colors are beautiful, to color in those dark areas of the hair. And then, like I said, I will continue with the lighter colors a bit later, but we're just blocking in all of those darker colors first, just getting in some of the shadows. I mean, this is a very like fun and like flowy drawing because of the hairstyle, so I can kind of go a little bit crazy with drawing it. And then I use this even darker blue that I had in my acrylic markers, which is a very navy looking blue. I don't know how well it helped because it really contrasts weirdly with that previous blue. But anyway, I just continued on getting into more of the details in the face. I'm using another blue. I'm going to be using a lot of blue, if you couldn't tell, to again block in and start rendering some of those colors. And then I use my Tombow marker again just to highlight those shadows once more, and going back with an Ohuhu to help build those shadows in the darker areas of where those first shadows were. There's some shadows under where the hair is because of the lighting in the image, and, you know, shadows under the lips and the nose. And then I'm using this really light blue that almost looks white against all of these other colors to just build more on the base, because the base is just a very light blue. And as you might have noticed, there was some bleeding from the previous drawing on the page right before this, so I was anxious to get some of that covered because I wasn't sure how much that would bleed through. And then again, building on the hair a bit more because that first color was a little too light, so I'm just adding some more dark blue into those darker areas. And this is a trick that I picked up for drawing eyes. If you ever struggle with drawing two identical eyes when drawing faces, never draw one eye and then draw the next eye. I highly suggest drawing them at the same time and like going back and forth on the left and the right eye. When you do that, they end up looking more similar, so the eyes look the same. So if you ever struggled with drawing eyes and you get one perfect eye and then the other eye doesn't look as great because you focused all on drawing that one perfect eye, so you just cover the other eye with hair, or just don't even draw that other side at all, please try drawing both eyes at the same time. Like you might have noticed me drawing the eyes. Going back and forth just really helps you get that same motion on both sides of the page. So definitely try that. And adding a little bit of background to this, which is very simple again, but you guys know I love stars, so there's going to be a lot of stars in this drawing. I decided to add some more contrast in the background. It was a very light blue, so I used a darker blue and a pencil to sketch those stars and colored those in with that dark blue. And then there was some lace in this clothing that they were wearing, so I decided to make my own design with some stars and, you know, some squiggles. And then I'm using these markers that have stamps on the end of them just to highlight those stars, and allowing myself to use black and white for these challenges. They are not colors, so it's not technically using a different color. White and black are not colors, they are shades, which is not a color. And just like in the last challenge, I am really like pushing myself not to use black at all. I'm trying to use the darkest colors to emulate black if I need to, but I just wanted to use white to highlight in those highlight areas of the face because I already used that light blue, so I needed an even lighter color on top of that. So those are the only really reasons that I will be using white. And then I did some more highlights in the hair, and then the lips were too like one tone, so I added a little bit of a different blue onto there. And I'm now going to be using these actual stamps before I just use the marker tip. But these are double-sided markers, so one side is a stamp and it tells you what kind of stamp it is, and these this blue color has stars as its stamp, so I'm going to be stamping those all around. I thought it'd be cute to add it to their face, and I wanted to add more, so I just put some on their shirt as well. And then fixing up the background a little bit using some colored pencils to add some texture in some places that I felt like needed. And that is basically the entire drawing. I love this so much. I think all of Blue's really work really well, and I just had a lot of fun drawing this, and I think it looks so pretty. So like this video if you enjoyed this challenge, and if I should continue doing this challenge with all the rest of the colors of the rainbow. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Goodbye everybody.